check out this floating soundbar shelf idea I came up with. The reason I say floating is because I put these L brackets right here on the top of the shelf instead of the bottom. And when the soundbar gets on top, it will hide these and it'll appear to be floating. I did have the soundbar mounted like this, right, with the soundbar mount kit, and that works fine. But sometimes the bottom of the soundbar is kind of ugly. And I have a hole there that I kind of want to hide in this case. So the idea is this, and these wires will be behind there. Struggle. There we go. Right there. So if you want to make this happen, I'll show you what I did. Really simple. And I went and I just grabbed this piece of 1x4 off the scrap pile at Lowe's. So it's about 3.5 wide, which is equal to about most sound bars, but you could find the right depth and then just cut to length, right? I got a piece that was broken and 50% off. There was a little black spray paint on it there, but you can't see it anywhere else. And chopped that to length, exact length of the sound bar for this one. Sanded down all the edges just a little bit, rounded that up. It's a nice piece of wood, really, and I liked this piece with the natural little bit of wood right there. And when we get this incorporated all up here, this will probably tie together pretty nicely. So really simple, getting that piece of wood. And then we have L brackets, right? Or they call them corner brackets sometimes. They're in the hardware section. You get black or silver. These are handy for a ton of stuff. You could use these just to mount the soundbar by itself. Find your studs. Right? I found my studs in the wall by drilling a couple of small holes. I'll patch these. And most of them, it's all going to get hidden by the soundbar anyway. But you could use these type of brackets to really just mount your soundbar if it didn't come with a mounting kit, or sometimes these mounting kits don't work very well. Or the other thing, they never have the mounting, on 16-inch centers, or 32 inches apart in this case. These are like 36.5 or something like that. So I got one to hit the stud, and the other one I used an anchor. And I'm actually going to use those same holes because those worked out pretty well and they're just the right height. So you can use the same holes right there and right there with that anchor, and this will all be above it, so the wire won't be a problem. That's what we're about to do, is we're getting this to be hung here. So the L brackets, the piece of wood, and now what I've done is I've lined everything up and getting the brackets onto this side first, because this would be impossible once it's on the wall, right, to put these in. I can't do that. I have to put these in last. So get the board to look like this. And I did that by first hanging the brackets right there where I wanted them on the studs. So take this off. I got a couple more. Find your studs, stud finder, or somewhere where you know there's one. Maybe you can feel through the hole and find one, and then measure. In this case, they weren't on 16-inch centers. These are like, the stud's way over here, actually. They're like 20-something inches apart. It's kind of weird because of a fireplace. But find where you want to mount these and get them hung up there temporarily, right? So we tack those up. I would have those hung right there and the other one on that side. And then I took my shelf and I hold it up and I mark. I get that mark, I get them hung exactly equally. Make a line for the edges, and I make a line for this hole right here like that. Now I know where my bracket needs to be. Take it over there, line up it on the line, put that right in the hole. I got those on. So add the second screw. Do that now. Always check, right? I don't know how thick your wood is, but mine's only about 1 inch. So make sure your screw is not going to go all the way through the board. This one's really close. They came with this, but once it's in the bracket, it's not going to go all the way through. Always check that, because that would defeat the purpose if screws are showing through the bottom, because this is going to be seen when it's up on the wall. Instead of the bottom of the soundbar, you'll see the bottom of this. And I might stain this piece of wood later, but I can always do that. It's hard to undo. So we'll start with it natural, and I'm willing to take it apart and stain it later if I need to, right? I could stain it with these on, but we're just about there. This is ready to go up on the wall. Okay. All right, we had this one up here just to show you, so we'll take that down. See if we got it. Yeah, this one. Take this down. I'll need that one. And we're putting this up on the wall. We're going to use some different black screws, not the ones that came with the brackets. Those that came with the bracket, the real short ones, were good for putting it. We're good for this purpose. They're short enough, but they're not long enough to go through the drywall and hit the stud behind there. That we need that. We need that to be anchored well. So this needs to be under the wire because the soundbar is going to go up on top. And then this is the side that's in the stud. This one's in wood. It does not need an anchor. I've taken the screw in and out a couple of times, but it's still, the hole is good. And now I'm going to go over and get this one. It's in a drywall anchor, but I got it in there pretty nice. You know, sometimes you get a drywall anchor in there and it turns or it's loose. Those are no good. It happens all the time. Don't drill the hole too big. You can always drill it bigger. It's hard to make it smaller. Even if you putty it at all, which reminds me, I'm going to hit these holes while I still can. Even though the soundbar is going to hide these, you never know. Next time I take it down, if I need to, they'll be ready to paint. So I'll just cover them up now. So for spackling holes, I just have this Dry-X quick dry time interior spackling. It's pink. It dries white, so you know it's dry, it's ready to paint. And I don't want to get big flat spots on the wall. Like if this was a spot of the wall you're going to see, we don't put a ton on there, just a little bit, and then I'm going to rub it, all the excess off. So it's not filling in that texture, it's just filling the hole. And those are good. You can see that? No, I'm talking about like right here. Fill those puppies in. All right. Go. Let's check that lens. That's dirty. It's like it's on this side of the phone. All right, here we go. So we've got the two. Before I put the next two in, let's do another check, right? We don't have to put everything together as fast as we can. It's always good to measure twice and cut once, as they say. One screw's pretty strong for this anyway. There are some clearance issues with the wires and the ports, so I'm going to make sure they get all the way tucked in there. And then these, yeah. There we go. It's exact same length as the soundbar. Push that baby back a little bit. I can work on that, but just for frame of reference, let's back it up. Yeah. Pretty cool. Now we need to do a lot of stuff to make this look even better. As I'm, it looks okay. I'm not thrilled by it yet, but sometimes, right, it's a little bare. I've got all my tools here, so let's move some stuff out and kind of mock this up the way we would do it. Tools in the pocket, because hopefully we're done. We can go back to the garage. Yeah, we'll be vacuuming later. Of course, it did snow a little bit. Once it snows and it's around for a couple days, people don't think it's as fun anymore. But we're having a good time. Okay, we're getting closer. This is more like what I imagined, the greenery and the other items kind of tying it all together. And there's going to be, this is just the start. There's going to be a lot of other things on this mantle before I'm done with it. Let's see what else was up there. Probably this. See if this still fits. Ooh, not really. But there's always something we can do. Maybe, maybe not. I don't really like those big pictures up there anyway. Looks like. Switch. So there's my floating shelf idea. And let me get this up to about a real human height. This is a 65-inch TV, pretty standard house with a fireplace. Right, so it's kind of give you an idea if your house is built similar. Right, this house is built in 1997 by Centex Homes. We're here in Everett, Washington. So hopefully this is helpful. You got questions about how to build it or comments? I probably got something wrong. You can throw that down there in the comments. I'd love to hear it. But answer your questions, help out. That's how you build a floating shelf with about, how much material was that? The brackets were $4. The wood was, I would say $10, right? It's usually you can find something like this 50% off in the scrap bin at Home Depot or Lowe's as a 1x3 piece of cedar. But you could use a piece of cedar fencing or some barn wood or anything. Just cut it to length. Use the L brackets to make the magic happen. Till next time. Appreciate it. Talk to you soon.